And there you have it. Welcome to Tuesday night, ladies and gentlemen. Bobby Gray here, joining you live from the studio near McKinney, Anna, Texas. Thanks for tuning in. We took another quick trip down memory lane there. As you maybe recall, last Thursday, we went through kind of a bit of a slideshow of some things to fill in the blanks on. Different things that I've done over the course of my life and career in the realm of honest money to show you the behind the scenes stuff. We talked about if you really knew what was in my heart, then you would have as much confidence and conviction in the future of our project as I do. And so that's just a quick thing that I wanted to share with you there. I made that back in 2013. Russia Today, one of the largest news networks in the entire world, came out to my mint and did a story about the Republic of Texas. And we were manufacturing silver, gold, and copper coins for them back in the day. Made a lot of those coins, and so they came to the mint and filmed a little bit. But if you tuned in and you caught it, you recognize the words. We're talking about level playing fields. We're talking about complementary currency. We're talking about, a fair and equal exchange of value. And if you saw those coins very slowly coming off the conveyor belt, then you would realize what I did, which is, man, gold and silver are great, but they're slow. And if we really want to change the world, if we're really serious about succeeding with our major goal of establishing an alternative or complementary payment system, currency system, we got to use digital tools. I was against it for a long time. I resisted it. And finally, in 2022, 2023, I said, I get it. I get it. We got to go digital. And of course, with crypto, we've got really good money. Not all crypto is good, but some of it is. And we created TEXITcoin to be great crypto. And so I just wanted to share that. I'm trying to find a clip to put in the beginning of each one of our weekly calls. I got my dog here. Luna is not leaving me alone right now. Some of you got to meet Luna a couple days ago. So I'm trying to put a clip in there at the beginning to just give you a little bit more insight, a little more background. We tune in for these calls and we share information. And, sometimes people say that the tangential behind the scenes stuff is really what speaks to them the most. And so whatever it is for you that indicates to you that we're tuned in, we're engaged, we're having a great time, we're here, we're at the steering wheel, at the helm, in the captain's chair, continuing to guide this project into its successful future. It's all good. Whatever speaks to you, whatever works for you, whatever communicates for you, or whatever resources that we create and put together that you can share with your community, take it, use it all to your advantage. Okay, so we're here on Tuesday night. First and foremost, of course, let's get into the market stuff. I want to talk about how I believe we are right where we want to be. And there's no better way to communicate that, of course, than with emojis. And so let's take a moment and look at some important emojis to make sure everyone understands that we are literally exactly where we should be and where we want to be according to our emojis. We go from optimism at the beginning of the project, start to see some signs of life. There's excitement, thrill, euphoria, complacency right there at the top, a little bit of stress and anxiety as the numbers begin to fall, denial, fear, straight up panic, and anger. Have we reached the anger and depression phase just yet? Um, I think we're there. I think we're in anger and depression now. We keep talking about the bottom. We're calling the bottom. Is the bottom about sales? Is the bottom in relation to price? It doesn't really matter. The bottom for us is a state of mind. It's a state of the mind where we go, okay, the guys that got in really early, they dumped. What happened to the path to 16? I thought we were on track to be the one crypto that only ever went up. Well, we got off that path. Why? Because the guys that got in very early, they dumped. They paid off debt, they bought houses, they got cars, they made a lot of money, they got in very, very early. But not everyone did that. In fact, there are a few guys that got in extremely early, myself included, that haven't sold a single coin. And so, it would be foolish to think that we're the only guys ever in the history of crypto that could have a coin that completely turned all of these charts on their head and didn't go through a cycle. And so, I didn't make this emoji chart for Texit coins. Somebody else made it based on whatever cycle they were going through. Let's take a look at the one we've seen before with the psychology of a market cycle from Wall Street. I don't know what year this chart was made, but it shows the same thing. The same thing. It hits a top and then it drops down and it goes through the cycle. If we look at, sorry, wrong chart here. If we look at Bitcoin at any number of places along the way, here's Bitcoin from, mid 2017 all the way up through 2019, where we hit that high of almost $20,000 back in December 2017. And then we took a year and a couple months, a year and 2 months to find the bottom. And so that's Bitcoin 2017 to early 2019. But let's take a look at Bitcoin from, in during like the COVID years, where we went from that low of 7,300 all the way up to a high of almost 70,000 bucks, and then right back down, to under 20,000 again. And if, what is this? Okay, I'll show you this chart later. But if we, sharing has stopped. Okay. If we take a look at these charts, we see these cycles happening again and again and again. And so I would have you believe that we're right where we need to be right now. I want to show you a scarier chart, which I thought was pretty fun. But we're looking at Bitcoin and these different cycles that happen over the years. You can see the 2017 one there, and then we had, the COVID cycle there. And what I see is happening is that when you get through a cycle, whatever your high was at the end, at the top of your previous cycle, ends up becoming the low of your next cycle. So here we are at 17, 18, 19, $20,000 during this cycle. And then when we pass the Bitcoin high of 60, 65,000 bucks, in 2021, then it bottomed out after that again at 16, 17,000 bucks. And so wouldn't it be fun if we watched our next cycle go from where we are now all the way up, to 5x, 3, 4, 5x where we were before, and then bottom out after the cycle concludes a month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months later at 7 or 8 bucks. And so we don't really know exactly what these numbers are going to be. We can guess based on historical things, but we project out these cycles. And as we go through the cycles, we look at our chart, it matches almost identically what we saw with Bitcoin back when it had, one of its big cycles in 2017. But what I want to show you is what we have to watch out for. What we have to watch out for is, where is it here? Share. Let me find it real quick. What we have to watch out for is a consolidation that happens from the big money guys. And from halfway through 2025, 19th of May, 2025, check out who the biggest holders of Bitcoin are. Number one, Satoshi Nakamoto. Don't know who that is. Number two, BlackRock. Money manager, owns pretty much everything. Second largest holder of Bitcoin. Number three, Binance, a Chinese-based cryptocurrency exchange. Number four, a public company. Number five, another public company. Number six, another money manager. 7 and 8, US and Chinese governments. And so what you have to watch out for as you go through these cycles is that consolidation phase, where the early guys, they go, well, it was fun while it lasted. I'm cashing out. Well, who's buying up all those coins? The thing you got to watch out for is like, oh, every time the cycle bottoms out and the weak hands give up, that those coins get scooped up by hedge funds. Those coins get scooped up by money managers, by exchanges, by governments, by the same guys that we've been trying to disrupt with this cryptocurrency industry all along. And so I want you guys to think about that, because what happens next? The cycle goes back up. We hit $25 a coin. Everyone goes, holy crap, we blew right past path to 16. What an amazing thing. Love it. And then you cash out. And I'd love that. I want you to have a win. The same way I'm happy for the guys that got in early that got their win. I want you to have your win as well. But be careful because if you cash out all the way, you lose out on the next cycle, number one. And number two is you got to think about who's picking up those coins. So I'd love to have you cash out 10%, get your money back, play with house money, get the thing that you've always wanted, and then still have a chip, still have a seat at the table so that you get to take advantage of the next wave and the next wave and the next wave after that. So I hope as we're going through this cycle, you're developing your strategy, your exit strategy, so that you can enjoy this thing on the way up, but also so that we don't become what happened to the other guys as their coins got bought up on the cheap as well. So keep that in the back of your mind. But let's take a look at one other example here because this one's interesting. I never really looked at this one closely, but I was looking into Litecoin today. This is Litecoin over its entire history. From when it came out, 2013, 2014, and made it onto its first market. Look what it hit back during the same, craze of 2017. It was up over $300 a Litecoin. Today it's at 67, 82, 67, up over 100 there. But it recovered during the COVID days and went over 347, but it has not ever recovered since then. And what I want to call to your attention, you can look at these little checkpoints that pop up at the bottom. And Charlie Lee checked out of his holdings. Charlie Lee, the founder of Litecoin, checked out December 2017, sold or donated all of his Litecoin and called it quits. Litecoin founder Charlie Lee says he sold all of his holdings in the crypto. He's out. Started in 2011, sold and donated all of his Litecoin. And his exact words, not his exact words, but what he said was he didn't understand the market and he knew that a lot of people were going to get hurt. And he didn't want those people to blame the market volatility and the actions of the market and the wins and the losses on him. I'll have to go back to find his exact words. But I thought it was interesting to look at Litecoin and see that it never really recovered. It had a pop since its early high, but it hasn't gone back. And I would credit a lack of leadership in the Litecoin community as being a major reason for it not following that same type of cycle format. And so as we look at this stuff, we say, okay, what's the plan? And we get it. We're in a cycle, all good. You tell us not to worry, we're not going to worry. What's the plan? Well, we've got a plan. And the plan is pretty good. It's pretty good. Number one, the plan includes getting ourselves back on track for like our original basic strategy, and that's meetings. Back when I started this thing, I went out, I did the meetings. I'll never forget driving all the way down to Mansfield, popping in there with Jay and Jason at Spring Creek Barbecue and giving the presentation. Everyone loves to hear it from, the guy that started it. I can't be everywhere all the time. We had great people come along and give even better presentations than I was able to make. But when the going gets tough, people want to hear it from the top guys. We got Tim in the office, we got Rob Reynolds in the office, we've got Gage in the office, we've got me in the office. And so, we look at that and we say, well, back in the day, we all used to go out and, pound the pavement. We all used to go out and like do these meetings. Rob opened up his other company classroom and brought people in for weekly training sessions. We haven't done that in a long time. Rob now works full time for the company. Tim works full time for the company. Gage works full time for the company. And so we took some of our best guys off the street, brought them in house, paid them a salary, and made them too busy to be able to go out and do that. We got to get back to the basics. And so Tim and Rob and I have been diligently working with our staff at the office to put our teams together. And now what we've done, thanks to Jim Carrey and the CRM, is we've all gotten ourselves this really great website. This one is mine here. I've got Trey and Samantha running my team now. We've got one for Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's got his team. Sorry, I skipped over Rob Reynolds. He's got one now for his team. He's got Cassidy and Kristen working to manage his team and get that going. And then there's Tim with his page. So we've invested $100,000 into these resources so that every single one of us has the ability to have a great quality website where you can put your information, your contact details, get people to your page, show them that we've got an exciting community, share with them the testimonials, give them access to the tools and the resources where they can make a qualified and, an educated, intelligent decision as to whether or not they want to join us. And so we've got those tools. So part one of our plan to get back on track, get the momentum back, is to go back to the basics where I went out and did meetings. Tim did them. Rob's does them. Gage does them. Um, we're all going to go out there. We're gonna work the original plan. Remember, the original plan worked back when we didn't have a coin that was trading on the market, back when we were at 2.8 cents when we opened up, back when we had to take our network offline for 2 weeks to repair a security bug that we had. We were able to bring people in by the dozens back when it was almost impossible. And so now we've got so much going for us. We've got a great brand that's well known and well respected around the state. We've got all kinds of marketing assets out there. So we've got so much going for us that it's going to make it even easier. We just got to get back out there and do it. And you need to do it as well. That's part two. Think about it, right? We've got our Rangers. We just finished up a really great Ranger roundup. I was talking about it earlier today. I said, I think we spent like 12 grand to bring the Rangers in. I think it was more like 50,000 bucks. It's expensive to bring in our best people and connect them with our leadership team here in McKinney. Give them all the best training and information. This was our agenda: pickleball, dinner, breakfast, classes, training, luncheons in downtown McKinney, more training, another dinner, training at the G2 racetrack, cars and all kinds of fun, great presentations, party at my house, and then a full day of fun on Saturday. Breakfast, visiting the mine to check it out, put your hand in the soup to make sure that the stuff is actually real. Then off to the Mansfield office for presentations and pitches and feedback, heading to the Fort Worth stockyards, seeing the cattle drive, and then going and checking out the rodeo. I got a couple pictures here loaded up to take you through this stuff. Great presenters. I mean, guys, just leaders in these communities coming together and sharing their best and brightest knowledge and information with us, getting out on the racetrack in the fun cars, heading back to my place, which apparently is a bit of a safari. We had the balloon out there, which was really great. And people got to jump in and take tethered rides up in the air. And then Saturday at the rodeo. And then Sunday morning, a couple people even jumped in some balloons for a ride and adventure of their own. It was very cold, though. Very cold that day. And so we invest a lot of money in our best people. We bring them out, we get them to look us in the eye, shake their hands, thank them for the work that they've done that got them to where they are today, and then put them out on the street with those same resources and then be here to support them where they're out there sharing our story. And so that's the second part of the process. We're counting on our Rangers to go out there and tell our story, to put together rooms, whether the price is up or down, whether the sales are up or down, to bring people out, share our story, and invite them to join us on this crowdsourcing journey. And so I hope you guys had a great time coming in for the event. What do we have? 35 new Rangers come in. It was really great. But that's really the second part of our plan. Continue investing in our Rangers. Have them go out there, have them do a great job, share the story, and find more Rangers along the way as well so that we can repeat this very same exciting thing next month. On the first Ranger Roundup, we did a steakhouse. Second one, we did Mexican food at my place. We did Italian this past week. And so I don't even know what's going to be next, but I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. And then the third thing that's part of our plan is we've made a $500,000 investment, a commitment, and we've physically paid $250,000 of that so far in what I'd call Operation Brig. Many of you guys know Brig Hart, somebody that's been in this industry for a very long time, and he encouraged us to go out there and to engage his team of experts, the guys that built his stuff that he's used successfully for years, to put together training material that we can use to help bring people up to speed quickly. One of the biggest complaints about our program is like, hey, man, I put my money in. What do I do next? And we're like, we don't know. We don't know how to do this. We're not network marketers. We don't know how to do the, affiliate sales stuff. Just go tell people about crypto. Well, I don't understand anything about crypto either. Who cares? Just go for it. Send them to the website. Well, have you updated the website since like day one? Not at all, but good luck. And people did it. And it worked for a while. And so now we've got to up our game. We just had a conversation with our leadership team the other day about back to basics. We got to go back to the basics. I said, well, hold on, let's pause for a second. We know that the basics got us to really climb to the top 1% of all these projects, but then it stalled out. So we can't sit here and just go, well, we're just going to do what we did before because it didn't completely work. We didn't fill all the seats. We have to change and improve what we did before if we expect to get better and different results. And one of those things that we're changing is education and training material. And so, like I said, we committed 500,000 bucks, actually paid half of that already a long time ago, so that we can get access to really great, top quality training information, videos, and resources so that you can learn all about crypto, so that you can learn all about how to share our story, how to help go out there and crowdsource this. Why is that so important? Even though you don't have to do it, somebody has to do it. When we go out there, we tell people, look, it's not a network marketing company. You don't have to bring anyone on if you don't want to. The mine will pay out for you day in, day out, whether you spread the word or not. You don't have to do it, but somebody does. We're crowdsourcing this thing. And so if we want it to be big and we want it to be successful, we need a lot of people to come along with us for the journey. And if everybody goes, well, the other guy knows how to do it, I'll let him do it. If everyone says that, then it stalls out. And that's what we saw happen back in September and October. We started worrying about commission potentials and, bringing more people into the office and switching them over from out there building sales in the field. Trey and Samantha used to travel around the country to do presentations. Then they worked full time in the office. Now they're back out there because we need people in the field. We need somebody to go out and do it. It would be nice for us to all sit back on a boat right now, sipping on Mai Tais and Bloody Marys all day, I guess. But someone has to go out there and build this thing. I'm building it every day. Tim and Rob are going to be out there building it every day. Gage is going to get back to building it. And we've got other great people too. We call those great people Rangers. So we're going to equip those people and we're going to have a whole training and education program so that anybody that wants to help us build can figure out exactly how to do that and hit the ground running right away. Really important, really high quality training materials coming very soon. In fact, our friend Brig is already at it right now. He's doing a 30-day blitz. I think he's got 3 calls on the calendar every day that you can plug into, that you can learn a little bit more, that you can see from some of the best in the industry exactly how easy it is to put together a strategy to help us grow. And so we've got those 3 things pinpointed as being the plan to get the momentum back. In addition to that, there's some low-hanging fruit that we're working on right now. We've got the TEXITcoin website updates. We've got the online store that's it was online last week and then we had a bug in it. And so if you go to shoptxc.com, you'll see that the online store is now back online and we're just working on a couple little things so that you can go on there, buy materials, buy extra coins, and get all the stuff that you need to share our story with other people. Remember, not everybody's got $1,000 to jump in and buy, a mining seed, but they might have $10 and they'd love to have a preloaded cold storage wallet. At $1 a coin, 10 TXC, $1,000 is a pretty good deal. So we've got that coming together. With the new website, we'll also make it easier for Gage to develop relationships to sell TXC. The more TXC that's sold, the more market demand there is and the more the price goes up. That's exactly what we want. We are working on mining packages that include TEXITcoin bundles. Why is that so important? Remember, guys, there's always an ebb and a flow about whether it's better to buy TXC or better to buy a mining seed. Today, TEXITcoin is really cheap. We're down in the anger and depression phase, which means it's cheap, which means that if somebody comes along with a couple $1,000 and says, should I buy 3 mining seeds? Is that what I should do? No. Buy 1 and pick up 2,000 coins. Remember, at $1,000, 2,000 coins is worth $2 million. And so right now is a great time to pick up 1,000 coins on the cheap. So we want to have packages that bundle mining seeds and also coins. And so the last thing that's on our low hanging fruit list is social media. And that's a really big thing right now because we've brought some really great experts in. We're collecting quotes right now. One quote was for 800,000 bucks. One quote, we're waiting for it to come in tomorrow, should be a lot more digestible. But really what it comes down to is communication. The world's out there going, TEXITcoin's dead, TEXITcoin dead, TEXITcoin dead. And we're not putting out really great quality information, not to combat that, not to offset that, but to educate, and to do that on our website. So when the AI goes out there and it goes, well, I haven't seen an update on their website since August of 2024, they must be dead. The rumors must be true. And so we really need a communication strategy that takes the information, takes the things that are happening every day, takes these calls, takes your updates, and bundles that stuff together and presents it for the world to consider. If there's no information going out there, then everyone will simply assume the worst, which of course is not true. So instead of fighting the AI robots one by one, we just need a better communication strategy to start sharing the good information on a regular basis with people out there that don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody can know for sure. Maybe you've met me, maybe you haven't. But when you're seeing the good information and you see that we're updating the website and you are seeing that we're putting out a consistent effort to communicate our story, then at least you've got a little bit more to go on than just the rumors and the trolls. And so those are the things that are on our low hanging fruit, in addition to the basic plan. Getting back to the basics, me, Tim, Rob, Gage, all of us that do it really well, getting back out there. We're shooting to do it. We're hoping to do it every day of the week. And so all around DFW, first and foremost, spread it out from there throughout the state of Texas. If we got to load up the RV or jump on the jet to come and do a presentation with you, then get a room together and let's do it. But we want to share our story. We want to share it the best way, and we want to have a higher closing rate of people jumping on board. Let's see if we can start to get away from people coming out for the free dinner to people bringing friends out that want to learn more, look us in the eye, and come and join us on this journey. And so that's number one. Number two is equipping and empowering our Rangers. Just brought another group in this past week, had a great time, and now you guys are out there refreshed, recharged, plugged in, seeing the very best that we have to offer and taking that into your communities to extend our reach far and wide. And then the great new training resources that Brig and his team are helping to put together for us as well. Remember, you don't have to tune into that stuff if you don't want to, but there's a lot of great information there that's been crafted over years of experience and trial and error. And it's the very best that I think is available to us in this industry today. We've invested heavily in it for our mutual success, and we'd love for you to take advantage of that stuff. So that's the plan. That's how we get our momentum back. This is now something that I've trusted to my team. I've been working hard to put a great team together. We've got a great team now in the office, and that's really given me the ability to move on to phase two. If you tuned in a couple days ago during our marathon week 93, I told you guys that I'm not going to talk about phase two that much. There's a reason for that. It's going very, very, very well. And we've got some trade secrets. We're building a real business in phase two that we'd like to eventually maybe even take public on the Texas Stock Exchange. There's a lot that's wrapped up in all that. I'm not going to get into it tonight, but because it's a real business, I don't want to reveal too many of our marketing strategies and secrets. I've shared them with you already. If you want to know, go back and watch the old videos. But I'm done beating it into our heads every week that we talk about what a great opportunity is, how well it's going. Just rest assured that it's going so well that you're going to now begin to hear a lot more about phase three. And I'm not going to tell you about phase three tonight, but I am going to tell you that I'm going to invite you sometime in the extremely near future to continue this journey with me and my team on phase three. What is phase three? Phase three is what we call cross mining. Phase three allows us to expand beyond the million seats. It allows us to expand beyond our geographic limitation of Texas. Why is that so important? It helps our network with redundancy. It gives us more hash power. It gives us, a geopolitical advantage. It gives us a whole other community where we can share our story. It gives us another revenue stream. It gives us so much and it's so exciting. And it's how we start to work our way up the top 100. I'm confident that we can get to the top 100 with $1 billion value through what we're doing right now in phase one. We build the mine, we get the $1 billion value. I believe that we can get up to the top 20 in the cryptocurrency industry. Think $80 a coin, a $5 billion value through phase two, through utility, through real purpose. We have this coin, we built this network. What are we doing with it? That's phase two. That's downtown digital and a bunch of other things that are all now blossoming out of that strategy, which I get to work on every single day. And it's very exciting. Phase three is how we go up to the top 10. Phase three is how we continue to lead the way in the industry as the experts in the money side of the conversation. Think about it right now in crypto, who's out there as the champion of using cryptocurrency as a currency? Who's out there that's picked up on Satoshi's original digital, decentralized, peer to peer currency concept? Everybody today is thinking about real world assets and stable coins and how to on ramp and off ramp. That's what the majority of the industry is focused on. We're the guys that are focused on using alternative currency, digital currency as an alternative currency. We're the guys that are the champion of the honest money movement. That's how we get to the top 10. When we're regional, when we're Texas based, we can get to the top 100. When we show the world that we actually did this for a specific reason, we can get to the top 20. We can edge out Litecoin. And once the world takes us seriously as a global player in the cryptocurrency industry, as a leader in the movement of digital, decentralized, peer to peer currency, the job that Bitcoin was supposed to do before it became digital gold, that's how we get to the top 10. Phase three takes us there. And in just a couple of days, when I'm ready, I'm going to ask you to consider joining us as we keep moving forward. You got to remember, friends, fortune favors the bold, and we're going to continue to enter our actions with boldness. We're not going to wait for permission. We're not going to listen to people whining on the internet about how we're dead. We know what's going on. We're in a cycle. It's a natural part of the evolution of a real project. Everyone's just waiting right now for me to quit. Too much trouble. I've already made my money. I'll just rug pull and walk. That's what the world is waiting for. The world will trade dog poop coin if they think they can get rich off dog poop coin. They trade Pepe, they trade Bonk, they trade Floki. These are top 100 coins. The world is putting us through a test to see if we're serious about our mission of honest money. I'm serious about it. Are you? If we're serious about it, we push forward, and the world will notice. As we get into phase three and continue to expand our work around the globe, that's when things get really interesting. You'll hear more about it in the next couple of days as we continue to boldly build the future of honest money in the cryptocurrency rocket ship that we today call TEXITcoin. That's what's coming next. Let's see what else is on my list for us to talk about tonight. I think that's it. I got to take my family to dinner here in a few minutes. Let's get into our questions for the evening and see what kind of stuff you guys have got cooked up for me. Guys, it's 6:36 now. I'm answering questions for 15 minutes. Let's go to 6:51. If you guys want to keep going with questions after that, I don't know who else is out there. I got Robbie Rue Bear.
Hello.
What's
How
happening?
are you, sir?
Gage is there. Tim's there.
We're with you.
In the chatter. Does everyone still love us? Tell me they still love us.
Yeah.
Are they
Yes,
ready
it's
for
looking
phase
good.
three?
Positive feedback.
Good. Well, let's get into our questions for the evening and see what kind of exciting challenges I've got coming my way. Love the emoji chart, Bobby. Hilarious. Well done. You nailed it. I didn't make the chart. Somebody else made that chart. That's really important. I didn't make it. I didn't make the Wall Street, cycle chart. I didn't make the Bitcoin chart. Bitcoin made that. And you got to remember that we've got one advantage, two advantages that all those other coins don't have. You've got me and I've got you. And with our powers combined, we can do just about anything. So I'm glad you like the chart. Let's keep going. I remember on a miner call about a month ago mentioning the nuclear option with using influencers to help promote the coin. Is that still a thing? No, it's not. In fact, we talk quite a bit around the office about what I call the magic beans. And the magic beans are the thing that shows up in your office when it's late, when it's fourth and long, when it's the bottom of the ninth, and you're down by a whole bunch of runs, and you start getting desperate and you start throwing Hail Marys. And the magic bean salesman walks into your office and he goes, I have these magic beans. And if you buy these magic beans, your whole thing will be saved. And you buy the magic beans, you eat the magic beans, and then you die. And so, what we're going through right now, we have to make peace with it. It's a bear market, it's a cycle, it's what happens. And so, if we start pulling out the stops and saying, let's do what we said we would never do and just hire influencers to pump us back up to 16 by February, we'll lose what we really have. And what we have is really great. And so, I know a lot of people are on this thing. Somebody told them they could come here and make a quick buck. You know, I don't know what you were told when you decided to join us on this journey. But the point is that we don't want to compromise our strategy or our values in order to get to a price point that we can't sustain. I'd rather get there slow and steady. And so, no, I would say that we're not today evaluating the nuclear option as a strategy to accomplish our major goals. Are we still approving reimbursements for car reps? We kind of are. I think we are. I think we're being a lot more selective today than we once was. But I think we are still interested in getting our brand out there on cars. How do we subscribe to the CRM that Jim Carrey put together? I would like to gain access ASAP so I can use it to promote TEXITcoin. Great question, Alice. Tim, do we have a strategy yet for other people to start using the CRM?
We don't. Right now, we've almost got all of the Rangers onboarded. So, guys, you'll start seeing some communications starting coming from your Rangers that are above you. And so we wanted to get these guys trained, onboarded. And I mean, there's so much stuff with this CRM that it's absolutely amazing. But it takes a little bit to get your feet wet with it. So we wanted to do the Rangers first. Then we're going to start rolling it out to miners based on probably your performance, your ability to want to be a builder, not just somebody that's sitting passive. So I would say start reaching out to your ranger, your upline ranger, and let them know that you're interested in this. If you don't know your upline ranger, then send me an email at tim@blockchainmint.com. Not everybody send me an email.
Oh gosh,
Start with
dude,
your
your
ranger
email is going to get
first.
blown up.
No. Start with your ranger first. If you don't know your ranger, then send it to gage@blockchainmint.com.
That's good. Any idea when the January promotion will be paid out? No, we're just waiting for the developers to finalize coding the calculation, so we don't have to do it manually. But it'll be paid out before the end of the month. So how much longer are you going to give us Americans to jump on board before you decided to open up to the world? Because I remember you saying if seats don't fill up, that's your next option. Yeah, look, I'm really happy with where we are right now. The network's reliable. You know, sometimes it gets a little slow, but it hasn't been down ever. And so I wouldn't. I wouldn't worry about dropping our pants with influencers, and I wouldn't worry about dropping our pants with international buyers. We've got phase 3 to introduce to them very soon. Edward Russo wants to know about our cease and desist order. Not sure what you're talking about there. Can you give me some more specifics? Because I haven't seen a cease and desist.
We had Bobby, we had Jason Hummel wrote a response, a cease and desist order to the
disruption banking.
Oh, so that's not
banking.
us. Someone's sending a cease and desist to disruption banking.
Yes. We also had, and I was going to say Jim Carrey, one of our Rangers, he posted in the Ranger chat a very good written rebuttal too. So maybe we should, if people would like that, we could send that out to you. But it just makes sense because when you only get one side of it, that's all they're going off of. It doesn't, it doesn't make any sense. But this is a really good, well-written rebuttal if anybody wants that too.
Thank you. Yeah, guys, look, Jason, reached out to me and he said, "Can you approve this?" And I said, "Look, man, I can't approve it. It's not mine. We're a community of individuals here. I'm not in charge. I happen to be one of the largest, if not the largest holder of TXC. I happen to be the guy that started it, but I happen to be the guy that does the Tuesday night calls. But this is our project. We own this project together. This is a crowdsourced project. And so you guys get to, take the lead on some of those things. And I can't do all those things, and I certainly can't approve all those things. One of the things that I would say about it, though, is, look, people can say anything they want. And yeah, we need to put more good information out there. In the absence of good information, they'll believe the bad information. And so we want there to be a, discussion. We want there to be, a lively debate from time to time. But ultimately, the proof is in the pudding for us. And so we need to do more work. But I will say that, there's an old saying that says any press is good press. And, if people are talking about us, I heard from Angelo the other night that there was a whole crypto symposium somewhere, and half their pitch was about how TEXITcoin died and what they did wrong and what they're doing that's better. It's like, well, we didn't die. We're low right now, but we're not dead. And so I don't have an update on that. We'll see if we can get an update from Jason. Marco says, "Hi, legend Marco from Brisbane, Australia. Brig is a great friend of mine. I've joined based on his honesty and trust. I've sponsored 6 people now and another one on Friday. I believe in you and I'm all in with this. And that new website would be awesome. I'm plugged in every day. Thank you." You're welcome, Marco. Thanks for tuning in. Very kind words there. Like Tim mentioned, it's going to get around to everybody. We're just trying to get the Rangers onboarded. It is a bit of a process to onboard everyone onboard an individual. And so it's not quite click, 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 pop it and go. It does require some understanding, some education, some training, some setup. And so we will get there in short order. Elizabeth says, "Speaking of social media, what about the post that talks about the house in Galveston? Galvation. I'm not sure what post you're talking about." Brendan says, "Is there anything that I can start doing now to start preparing for phase 3? Tune in. Phase 3 information is coming soon." Ken says, "How do you help naysayers to understand why this is not a rug pull or a pump and dump?" Well, look, we talked on last Thursday's call. I'd go back and watch that about how rug pulls are the hardest to see. I was just having a conversation with Pierre about that. He's like, "That's really my big question. I mean, you've done well. You got a nice house. Why not just quit?" And I said, "Well, it's an interesting question. And I'll tell you the truth. I've lived a couple great lives. I've raised a family. I've traveled the world. I've been all the way at the top. I've been all the way at the bottom. This for me is more of a mission than it is about the money. I really believe that we have a shot at changing the world. I thought I had that long ago with silver and gold. I did well, but it was too slow. And so I am in this project today because I really believe that it has a real chance of success. And if I'm right and we make the world a better place with that level playing field that honest money gives us, then that's my little footnote in the history books. And so you can't know for sure if I'm lying. You can go back through the history books and watch videos from 2013 or 2012 or 2008. And maybe that gives you a little bit of an indication, but you really have to look at the evidence that you have access to and make a decision as to whether or not you think I'm the kind of guy that would do a rug pull. Darren says, "When will you be able to buy TXC with ACH in the back office?" That's a good question. We were thinking about adding it soon, and it's a little touchy. We've had some ACH drama lately. But I don't know. Tim, are we ready to do that?
I don't think so at this point. The developer's working on some other stuff. We would have to get the developer to add that in there too. We have Plaid now, which is helping with the chargeback. So I kind of want to see how that lands first before we just start opening up with the coin purchases.
Got it.
But
Thank you.
hopefully we'll get there.
What are your thoughts that many will just try and sell their coins? Well, it's a returns to a substantial number, like $5 to recoup what they put in and get us in the same position. That's a great question, and we're going to definitely have to push through that kind of sell wall. We went through the same thing with Bitcoin. Everyone was like, well, once we get back up to $20,000 in 2018, 2019, everyone that got in at 20, $1,000, it's just going to dump and go, "Whew, thank God I survived that." But it was the opposite. It blew right past 20, went all the way up to 65. And so that's why I was saying earlier, I think that whatever our high was before, let's say it was 5, 6, $7, I think we'll see a 3x that, 18, before we enter our next bear market and drop down to what our high was on the previous cycle, which is 7. So we go from nothing to 7 down to $1. Then we go from $1 to 17, 18, 19, 20 down to $7. So that might be the cycle as we continue to work through our phases here. But it's going to be a challenge. It'll be a challenge for sure. And what ultimately happens is people go, well, it recovered this far. Maybe I'll actually make a little bit of money on it after all. I keep hearing that the price sells the mine. Is that true? It's definitely a number. It's a top 1 or 2 driving factor because most people are not in this to save the world. Most people are in this to make money or to get rich. And if you're getting half a coin a day and those coins are worth 80 cents, it's not a real enticing ROI. And so once the price of the coin jumps, then that changes. Now, why not start mining today if you have an expectation that that's going to happen in the future? If you think that that'll happen in the future, start picking up coins on the cheap. Please provide the link to the preview vid. Great story and adds so much credibility to the mission. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome, Mark. Let me put it into the basically, I don't know, it's kind of hard to get there. I'll put it into, if you go onto the the Russia Today documentary section of their website, you can find it there. I'll add it here into the answer to your question. And hopefully somebody can forward that out on the Telegram chat group so you can have a link to it there as well. When do you think we'll be verified on CMC, and do you think that's important? It's extremely important, and I think the team is working on it right now. I haven't had an update lately. I can buy cold storage wallets on ShopTXC. Where do I buy TXC on this website? It'll be there as well. Obviously, the organic price rise depends on layer 2 effect as DDD gets steam up. Yes, utility. That's what we're talking about. Now, utility should take us all the way up to 80. Once people see that we're real in, we can actually use our network, to your benefit. That's a really big deal. And so, this path to 16 and the $16 billion value, I think we're going to blow right by it. Sharon says, for someone that is very visual, it would help me if slides and documents were available for printing. If they are already available, please let me know. Well, we're working on some really great sales material, Sharon, and I'm sure that we'll have handouts and printouts in there as well. Corey loves me even more. The Ranger Roundup was the ultimate way to capture what it means to be blessed by having a seat in the mine. And I encourage anyone wanting to do it the same, just plug in and get to work. Yeah, look, we made a comp plan that anybody can do. It's the shortest path to go from brand new to getting your money back. We don't have to look at an 8-year ROI. Just refer 3 people. Done. 3 people left, 3 people right, and you get your $1,000. 3 people and you get your extra hash power. So there are a lot of ways to increase your hash power or earn cash to get this thing started. Keep going from there. Next thing you know, you'll be a ranger. Erica says, if we have been told we are approved for a wrap, are we still good to move forward? Yeah, double check. Money's tight. We're trying to be a little bit more careful, but it would be really nice if you double check before going out there and spending that money. To get into TEXITcoinTrading.com, Yahoo wouldn't let me get there. I had to use Chrome. The technology issue is tough for me as a baby boomer, but I'm hoping the new trading site will help to address those issues. I hope so as well. Donnie says he has 2 team members that sponsored one person before January 9th, but didn't commission. I was told it needed to happen December 26th. Wanted to verify. Please send an email to the commission department through your back office. We've got good people there working to help out. I don't know if the system malfunctioned and didn't get you what you deserve. Mark says, what are the plans to get all the home miners that are sitting idle in the warehouse? Any chance of letting them out of Texas? Would love to be a part of the decentralized network. Okay, good question, Mark. So as you know, part of our strategy for decentralization and getting as many miners going across the state is really important to us. We just hired an IT guy. He starts tomorrow morning. He'll be hot on the trail of completing that for the people that are waiting for them, number 1. Number 2, we may have to allow in-home miners in New Zealand. We've got some regulatory issues in New Zealand that we're working through, and we might have to send pallets of miners to New Zealand. Why? Because they want them to be in people's hands to not look at us as a security. Okay, we understand that if New Zealand's going to be, a stickler about that, then we might have to modify our strategy to allow that to happen. If that happens, then it starts to open up the can of worms is why can't everybody have an in-home miner? So we're working through it. We developed a strategy that centralizes our data centers and our mining and our control here in Texas. But we may have to grow outside of that model as this thing gets bigger and we get more regulatory oversight, kicking the tires here and saying, well, if you would just do this, then we'd give you a clean bill of health. So we're always keeping an eye out for that and considering how we can keep this thing clean, big, and successful. Raphael says, is there any plans to help international miners different language presentations? Yes, I think this new stuff is coming in different languages. Andrew says, I don't have many direct signups since I work with a team on weekly meetings. I'm more of the tech guy instead of the sales guy, so I'm at risk of going inactive. However, I drive my rack truck over 400 miles per week for my commute. Was wanting to see if an exception could be made to my status considering I'm a driving billboard every day. Okay, so let's talk about that. We set the rules there to conserve cash. We want everyone doing well with this project, but our comp plan can't pay out 60, 70, 80, 90%. So what we do is we go, well, you're doing a great job. You're helping your team. You're doing this, that, and the other thing. The commission potential cap is lifted for you. And so we've got different rules and we're trying different things out to see how to get that number below that 50% danger zone and yet adequately and correctly compensate people for the work that they're doing. We love that you're out there driving around, but if it's not converting to sales, we can't afford to pay you because we only have a one-time fee. And so we have to watch out for that. And so I'm not really sure what to tell you. What I would say is thank you, keep up the great work, and let's just keep an eye on it. There's nothing wrong with going inactive. If you go inactive, it just means you won't get free stuff anymore. Once you make your next sale, you increase your commission potential, you become active again if you qualify for whatever the rules are, then you'll get paid if you qualify. And so again, we're trying to figure out how to get the comp plan to reflect payments to people that are doing a great job. All right, a couple more here, and I am going to call it a night. Victoria, please. We're actively trying to find a replacement transformer. It's going to be a little while, but we're working on it. Someone posted a question on CMC. This is why anyone would use TEXIT as versus utility as opposed to something like Solana. Look, it's a great question, and the answer is control. We're working on this layer two thing with Downtown Digital, and we find out that so many transactions are happening per second that we need to increase the block size. We increase the block size. Solana network won't increase the block size because a bunch of Texans, find that the network doesn't suit their needs. That's why we want to have our own network. What requirements are needed for Texas Ranger Roundup? I'm not really sure. Tim at blockchainmint.com can answer that. Keep up the good work, says Phyllis. New website any day now, guys. I'm waiting for it to get finished design. I thought it was a couple weeks ago. It didn't work out with the developer. I missed something. It was my bad. White paper is coming. Yes, we'll start speaking crypto language. Kelly says that he is all in. I'm assuming it's Kelly the Ranger. Excited about the future. He says, thank you. Pierre, that's not quite how I asked the question. Pierre, you're welcome to tell us how you asked the question. Where's Pierre here? Pierre. Pierre, you're allowed to talk.
Hey,
There he is.
how are you?
How did you ask the question, Pierre? Pierre reconnected as a panelist.
Did I disappear?
You're here. We got you.
It's not how I asked the question. We were just having a friendly conversation just about, things are going great. We're putting all this effort in. What would prevent you from potentially doing that? And you were kind enough to explain how it's not your heart, it's not your character, and you're willing to go to extremes to make sure that this is successful, as am I, as everybody is at the office. So
And just so you know, Pierre now works full time for Downtown Digital.
it's very exciting.
And he's really great. He's got a tech background. We're working on a lot of really great tech stuff right now to really streamline the user experience and the user, onboarding stuff. When I started it, I had a picture in my mind and I got some pushback from, third parties and some, experts, and now we're starting to all see it. And it's really excited. And we're not talking about it too much on this call because we're not giving away too many secrets on this call.
That's right.
Thanks for tuning in, Pierre. All right, guys, that's it. I am going to jump off this call. There's a couple more questions. Gage, Tim, Pierre, Rob, please feel free to stick around and take care of these questions. And that would be really great. Ooh, Bobby, time for dinner. Yes, Val, it is. Thank you. I clicked on Ken's questions. When will we have to be active to have our own website link? No, I don't think so at all. Look, the more we can give you in terms of training and resources to become active and successful, we're going to do it, guys. We've made big investments in this stuff to your benefit. Please stay tuned in. Don't be bummed out if you go inactive. We don't love you any less. You did the thing that we needed you to do for us to continue being successful with our project. We're extremely grateful and thankful for you for that. And now let's continue to build and grow. I'm Bobby. That's Gage. Tim's out there. Rob's out there. Pierre's out there somewhere. Guys, we have a great team. I'm going to take my family to dinner. Thanks so much for giving me an hour of your time. And I hope you guys have a wonderful night. And I'll catch you again. How much more do I want to say about phase 3? Guys, I'm getting on a plane tomorrow night. I'm going to Germany. We got a lot of stuff going on right now. And I'll be taking a trip while I'm over there somewhere else. And
You're
something
like a
really
kid in a
exciting.
candy store, Bobby. You can't even wait.
He
We're
can't
gonna
keep the
surprise
secret.
them.
That's it. That's all you get tonight, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. And now, if my great team can take us away, handle the rest of the questions, if you can, and if you would, and I really appreciate it. I'll catch you guys again soon.
All right, Tim,
All
do
right,
you want
Rob,
to
you
talk
want-
about the brig training question here for Mike, or do you want me to go over that?
Go ahead. I'm on my phone here, guys.
Okay,
So go ahead.
so Mike asks, how can we get in on Briggs training? You mentioned the calendar. Where can we find that? The Brig Hart team, Paul Hart's dropping all those Zoom links and everything and all those meetings in Telegram. So if you pay attention to the Telegram chat, you can find that. But Briggs put together a schedule where he's doing 3 meetings a day for the next 30 days. Now, his actual training, TEXITcointraining.com, goes live on February 1st, or the first part of February, that first week. So you all can find that and start registering for that once it goes live in February. But the first 9 days here that he's doing these 3 meetings a day, this is his little warm up to get ready for that. And that's for all of us miners and all of us a part of the community to tune in and plug into that. So that way we can get, fired up, rejuvenized, get our wheels back underneath us and start moving in the right direction. Paul's posting now, r3gteam.com, texitcointraining.com, register now. So everybody can go and register for that now, but it will go live in February. And then Brig and his team will be doing 3 meetings a day for 30 days starting in February as well for anybody and everybody to join and see. So great question, Mike. Connections for some are selling their mines. Is there still a max allowed even if buying other miners? No, if you're buying secondhand miners, you can buy them up as much as you want. It's not a problem. Jeffrey says, if you choose, oh man, my chat just messed up. Jeffrey says, if you share why you choose TEXITcoin, how it has helped change your life since choosing TEXITcoin, that is way more powerful than any naysayers or FUD that is out there. It's a share pitch, not a sales pitch. And I'm glad I chose this project. It has literally saved and changed my life. Thank you. Forever grateful and blessed now. Let's grow. Great. That's great, Jeffrey. That's perfect. Paul, I'm going to start resharing Paul's post with the Brig Hart training as well in the general miner chat, so we can get some redundancy on that, so everybody can see it. I know Telegram's really busy, but we'll make sure that we're posting that every day. There's 3 meetings a day at 10, 2, and 7 p.m. 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 7 p.m. Jamie L says, how can I get invited to Telegram? You need to send an email to rob@blockchainmint.com. He can get you back on Telegram. Robert says Trezor wallet update. Tim Gage ? Will add users to be able to pay person with town through the app. So we don't have an update on Trezor. Do you have an update on Trezor, Robbie Roo?
No,
No,
not currently.
no update on that currently. Still in the works. Vincent said, who does maintenance on the cars, crypto cars? If you don't have anyone, I work on cars and I can be your guy. You better take that name down, Robbie Roo.
Just email Rob at blockchainmint.com.
Perfect. Skinny says, what's the difference between layer 2 and layer 3? Well, we're not talking about layer 2 and layer 3. Layer 2 is applications, different tokens, stable coins, different things that can be built on top of our layer 1 foundation, TEXITcoin. But what Bobby was referring to was phase 2 and phase 3 coming soon, and that's a whole different thing. But there is no layer 3. That's all the questions. We got through it without him.
Early night.
Gage,
Early
on that
night.
last question, if everybody remembers, we've talked about that there's 4 phases to the success of this. And if we can manage to do all 4 phases, right, that could lead us to a top 10 crypto coin. And so we've talked about that since the beginning. We're not giving details as to what phase 3 or where or anything like that, but it's no secret to what we talked about. Phase 1 is building the mine, right? And the strategy that we picked to do that is crowdsourcing or affiliate marketing. Phase 2 is the community currency, the utility of our program or our project. And then phase 3 is duplicating the same process 4 more times in different parts of the world. And what that does, that takes us from 100 million mega hash mine to, once we get them all complete, to a 500 million mega hash mine. And we've always said, we realize the size of the mine determines the size of the price. The larger the mine, the larger the price. That's just one way to get the price to go higher. And then phase 4 is our education platform, where we're teaching our communities, our country, and the world about cryptocurrency, honest money, how to keep it safe, and how to be ready for what's coming. So those are the 4 keys to success. We do those 4 phases, and we could be a top 10 crypto coin.
Yep. The real key to that phase 3 is to add global redundancy to our network as well. It's a key point because we're talking about money. It's very important to most people. It's the most important thing to most people. And so that global redundancy will always be our safe net and our safeguard to make sure that our network is never going to go down, never going to fail, and keep operating perfectly. And so that's the reason for phase 3. Susan says, what was decided about airport billboards when they expired? What is going on with that promotion now? I think they're still running. I think they're still up.
I think most of the airports have expired, and we're going to let them expire. If you haven't seen an airport ad, then you haven't been traveling for a long time. We pretty much blitz those airports. We're still on the radio. We're doing Ticket Fest in Dallas Fort Worth, and we've got some other avenues that we are still doing. We're trying to mix it up. We're trying to make our marketing dollars go further and further. So stay tuned for other new ideas.
Yep. Bob says, can consolidated pay centers be sold if wanted to later? Of course, I think everything can be sold later if need be, or if you want to. Then Travis says, are those mines going to mine TXC or a different coin? So no, those mines, the phase 3, when we're talking about adding more 100 million mega hash mines around the globe, they will mine their own coin. We will mine our own TEXIT coin, but we're developing this system called cross mining, so each network can support the other one, but everybody keeps their coins. And so that's the brilliance in it all right there.
And that's what's cool. That's never been done either. No, Bobby's kind of pioneering this to say, hey, if we can do this, we can mine their coin, they can mine our coin, but we each get to keep our coins, so it doesn't affect anybody else. We still get our rewards as miners of TEXITcoin. We're just making our blockchain a lot larger, which is going to be really cool.
And then, yeah, I mean, the end goal for us is to be a top 10 crypto, right? Well, honest money is something everybody around the world can benefit from as well. And so that's why this global expansion initiative is going to happen sooner rather than later. And so next question here, David says, can you tell me what SATs stand for instead of TXC coins? That would be Satoshis. That's kind of the standard in crypto. You know, all the million decimal points a Satoshi is compared to one Bitcoin. That was kind of always the standard out there. And so everything runs on Satoshis. Tim says, how soon will we see mine TXC combo packages? Very, very, very soon. Soon as the website's up and running, you're going to be seeing those. Mickey says, where to buy TEXITcoin? Are they available in the back office? Can someone with a seat buy a package Bobby mentioned? Mickey, the easiest way is probably to reach out to me, send me an email, gauge@blockchain mint, and I can help you out. The easiest way is just to go on an exchange and buy them. You can go through the back office if you want to, and if you need help with that, send me an email and we can talk about that. Jamie says, if you go inactive, do you lose your commission potential forever? Or does it come back when you go back active? You don't lose anything. Your commission potential will stay there. The only thing you have to do is come back as active. And how you do that is do a 1-2 free bonus. As soon as you gain, if you go inactive to reclaim active status, you put up a 1-2 free bonus, which is 3 people, and you're back to active with your full commission potential. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what was decided. Bertie says, any plans to get our welcome packs to international miners? I don't think that we have had that on our list. Have we, Robbie Roo? Welcome
Yeah,
pack.
we have trouble shipping coins internationally. We run into some you know,
Customs issues.
customs issues with that. Yeah. And then of course the price to ship things international. So right now the international people are a little out in the cold, but we've got some plans for y'all in the future.
Kelly says, as a ranger, I'm anxious to get my tracking centers consolidated, complete. Any idea on time frame? As I've sent in an info a week or so ago. Kelly, everybody sent in their info. You know, they're working through it. It's going to get done. The goal is to be done by the end of the month. With that, it's probably not going to be done by the end of the month. But just hold on, you know, be patient. We're working through it. You can keep entering in people. You know, it's not going to affect anything, and we'll get them consolidated as soon as we possibly can. I know on some of these, they've been working 2, 3, 4, 5 days to get some of these consolidation trees done because it's a whole ball of wax that they've gotten into, and it's not easy. But we are going to get it done, rest assured. Just be patient with us, and we'll get it done. Bob says, with all the plans in place, is there an ETA on when the team is thinking the price will start heading north of $2 again? Yes, Bob. It's either going to happen sometime between tomorrow and the future. So anytime. It could be anytime. There's anybody's best guess. Robert says, if you go inactive and let's say you have 9 left, 2 right, do you keep the points or do they go to 0? What's your answer on this, Robbie Roo? Do they wipe?
Well, we're trying to fix some things. We were talking about some sticky points because we don't want to demotivate people. You know, you don't want to have points dropping off and things like that. With that being said, we've got to keep commissions under that 50% mark. So just know that we're working on it. I would probably get back. Go ahead and email me and I'll get you an answer on that one.
Yeah.
Or
So
Debbie, you want to
remember
jump in?
remember the new group, guys. So how it goes is, let's say that you trigger a commission and you're inactive. Well, then those points do flush, but any unused points, they stay.
Mhm.
What we're
That's what he's
trying to
saying. 9 left, 2 right. It wouldn't trigger commission.
Right. The 9 would stay and the 2 would stay.
Yeah, they would
Yeah.
stay. in this example.
Yep, that would stay. So what we're trying to do is, even in the future, what Rob was just saying is what he calls the sticky points, is if you personally sponsored somebody, then we're going to try to give those points or have those points stay. That way, if you trigger commission and you've got some personal sponsor points there, that they don't go away even though you're inactive. So we're working on stuff like that to make that happen, to try to make it fair for everybody.
Yep.
And I think we just got done all the questions. No, they keep coming in.
Getting close.
We got
They're
more.
still
We got more.
coming.
Susan, I was told we need 15 sponsorships to consolidate. That is incorrect. We prioritized it with Rangers first.
No,
right?
no, no.
So
What she's talking about, there was an email that went out, and that was wrong. So the email that went out, anybody with 3 tracking centers can consolidate. We were starting with the Lone Star Rangers, then the Rangers, and then we're going to regular miners, and we were going with people that had the highest sponsorships. That's what we were starting with first. So yes, everybody can still, anybody with 3 tracking centers can consolidate. We think that it's a great idea to do that. That way you're not orphaning the people. So just go ahead and send in a support ticket again, and then you'll just be on the list, and we'll get to you as quick as we can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're going to be working through them. Like I said, the goal was to be done by the end of the month, but we've kind of realized that that's probably not going to happen, but we're going to be working through it to get everybody accommodated if they want to consolidate.
Correct. I'll grab the last one. Wendy, he addressed it on the call. The website should be up soon. The store should be up soon. So anytime now, you guys should be able to start buying cold storage coins online. So hang tight, and we'll have them available for you soon.
Okay, quickly, last question. Richard, he said, what is consolidating? Consolidating means if you bought a builder pack and you have 3 affiliate tracking centers, not one. If you've got 3 affiliate tracking centers, what we're doing is we're taking the inside legs and we're moving them to one of the sides, to either your overflow or your pay side, okay, based on what your position is. That way it eliminates those inside legs, and everybody is going to get help. That means all the people below you on those inside legs that typically weren't getting any points rolling up because you weren't really helping them out will now start to help out. So if you've got a builder plan, reach out, send a support ticket in, say you'd like to consolidate. You don't have to tell them how. We have a plan on how we're consolidating now.
Yeah, last question here, Tony. Send an email to tim@blockchainmint.com, and he can help out with that.
I thought all the problems were coming to Gage at blockchain.com.
This is a consolidation deal, not a problem. You'll be fine. Bob says, if you consolidate, do you lose your beachfront property? No, they're not taking anything away from you. We're just moving the people to your outside legs to make it easier for everybody to build, for everybody to earn commissions. What happens when the points on those lower pay centers, if you want to consolidate? I think the points just stay there, but you're not going to be working them once you consolidate, so you're just not going to commission on them, right? The points don't go away by any means.
No, so I'm not sure how that question was phrased there, but if you're moving them, the points don't transfer over, but they're not going to transfer over because that would cause like a double commission, points that you didn't earn on that spot. The whole point of consolidating is because the majority of people out there are not able to support 3 different active tracking centers. That's one of the major problems and one of the downsides to the growth. And if you go ahead, you could do that. We spot checked hundreds of these, and there wasn't a single account that was actively building each leg every single week. And that's where the problem was. So we're hoping that this re-energizes people. They're going to see a bunch of points on one side and realize, heck, now if I just share this with a few people, get them on a webinar, get them to a meeting, and they end up signing up, then I could trigger commission pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this whole thing that we, earmark 50% for commissions, we paid out, what did you say the other day, Rob? Like $60 million in commissions or something?
Mm-hmm.
And we've got earmarked 50% of everything else we bring in. There's hundreds of millions of dollars left out there for commission, guys. So we're trying to make it easier.
The last question there, that person asked, what's the email to consolidate? All you do on mindtxc.com, the bottom right-hand corner, there's a green support button. Hit that, send a general email and say that you would like to consolidate your spots.
Yeah, and it's actually $65 million in commission that has been paid out so far. And there's a lot more to be had if anybody would like to start building.
Yep.
Roger, you don't lose hash power. Those tracking centers are still yours. So if you consolidate what happens to the hash power on those centers, they're going to continue to earn coins every single day based on your hash power on those other affiliate tracking centers. So you don't lose that. You're not consolidating any of that. You're just not building those spots out with people and then orphaning them and not giving them any support.
Yep. So
There we
Robert
go.
says, has the thought of letting commission mine buys points roll off. I'm not sure what you're trying to say there, but I think I understand what you're saying, which is if BOGO points roll up and then commissions people, it's something we've looked into, but at this time, everything stays the same with taking your commissions and hash power. I think that's what he's talking about. All right, that's it.
Oh, no more sneaking in questions.
Nope. Nope.
Okay, thumbs up from Robert. Thanks, Robert. You scared me there.
All right, everybody. Have a great night.
Guys,
We'll catch
have a
you
good one.
on next Tuesday.
We'll see you guys. Thanks.
See you.